Hello, welcome to Examining Fictional Heroes and the authors behind them. My name is Wayne Browder. I'm going to try to get through this, suffering with the allergies yet again. In my last episode, where I was discussing Tarzan Triumphant, I mentioned hierarchies. And that there are hierarchies wherever you go. So I'm going to dive into that briefly in this episode. And I'm going to start with just a very short excerpt that I read on my last episode from Tarzan Triumphant to start us out. If he were to survive, he must establish himself definitely in the minds of all lesser creatures as one who walked without fear and whom it was well to let alone. Now, I'm not suggesting that the people in your life are lesser creatures, but you have to establish yourself wherever you are. As I said in the last episode, it is a natural thing that we still do to this day, whether people like to accept it or not. Secondly, I'm going to read a few short excerpts from Crossfire Trail by Louis L'Amour. The first, as always, the crew had split into cliques. Guys, we're all familiar with this. Wherever we go, be it work or wherever, there are cliques. I'm very sorry. Pardon me. So, understand that you are going to most likely belong to one clique or another. Next, this is talking about the main character of this book, Rafe Carradine. There was something about the big man that would make him stand out in any crowd. He was a man born to command, not only because of his splendid physique and the strength of his character, but because of his personality. Sorry, looking down at my notes so I remember which page to flip to when. They are part of a crew that is, for the most part, shanghaied. So before they desert the ship, Carradine is going to go visit the captain, because he had beaten one of their clique to death. I'm going to call on the old man. In the darkness, he could feel their eyes on him. You think that's wise? No, but he killed Rodney. I've got to see him. You going to kill Borger? It was like them that they did not doubt he could if he wished. Somehow he had always impressed men so that what he wanted to accomplish, he could accomplish. No, just a good beating. He's had it coming for a long time. So, as he goes into the captain's cabin, "What's wrong?" he demanded. "Trouble on deck?" "No, Captain," Rafe said shortly. "There's trouble here. I've come to beat you within an inch of your life, Captain. Charles Rodney is dead. You ruined his life, Captain, and then you killed him." Borger was on his feet, cat-like. Somehow he had always known this moment would come. A dozen times he had told himself he should kill Carradec, but the man was a seaman, a first-class, able-bodied seaman, and in the lot of Shanghai crews, there were few. So he had delayed. And now he has to face the music for that delay. Finally, an excerpt from the book, The Sowers of the Thunder. This is a collection of short stories by Robert E. Howard set during the time of the Crusades. The excerpt is from the short story that the book takes its title from, The Sowers of the Thunder. "Grip the shaft, Malik," he laughed. "In all my days I have met no one who was man enough to twist a stave out of my hand." Cahal rose and gripped the shaft so that his clenched fingers almost touched those of Haran. Then, legs braced wide, arms bent at the elbow, each man exerted his full strength against the other. They were well matched. Cahal was a trifle taller, Haran thicker of body. It was bear opposed to tiger. Like two statues, they stood straining, neither yielding an inch, the javelin almost motionless under the equal forces. Then, with a sudden rending snap, the tough wood gave way and each man staggered, holding half the shaft, which had parted under the terrific strain. "Hi!" shouted Haran, his eyes sparkling. Then they dulled with sudden doubt. "By Allah, Malik," said he, "this is an ill thing. Of two men, one should be master of the other, lest both come to a bad end. Yet this signifies that neither of us will ever yield to the other, and in the end, each will work the other ill." Okay, I am also not saying that you have to dominate everyone in your life, as Haran suggested in the last excerpt. However, I think those do make salient points because they are all discussing the same concept of establishing your position wherever you might be and recognizing it. I hope that this has been useful to everyone. I appreciate your views, and I appreciate any comments or questions or book suggestions, things of that nature. Definitely likes or follows. Those are great, because not saying this, not begging, but my gosh, if this were a TV show, it would have been canceled long ago. Sorry. Fortunately, YouTube does not thrive on ratings. But all jesting aside, I appreciate all the input and all the everything. Especially, I appreciate you guys listening, and I hope I'm continuing to do a good job for everyone who does. Have a good night, guys and gals. Have a good week. Thank you.